Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more to another phenomenal day here for the Conference Cups for Americas for the Overwatch World Cup. Getster, we are on day 2 now of this phenomenal weekend, and you yourself had the pleasure of watching a lot of these games yesterday, going through all the action, and let me tell you, it was a phenomenal time. A lot of big games coming into form. Half of them ended up going the absolute distance as well. And some of these teams that we've seen kind of acting differently than we would have originally thought in terms of their records. Some better, some worse. I know you got to watch quite a bit. Just in your mind, is there a team that really stood out to you, whether that's in a good way or potentially a not so good way as well?
I have been very pleasantly surprised by Chile so far. I think that, right now they are currently sitting in first place with the highest map differential, sitting at a 2-0 record with a +3 map differential, which is the best out of anybody in the Conference Cup right now. And they've been playing just lights out Overwatch this whole time. So it's been phenomenal stuff. I'm very excited to see where day 2 takes us.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's going to be a lot of fun moving forward and seeing kind of what we get out of this whole day. Obviously, like we kind of brought up, lots of action happening yesterday. I should have brought up Calvary's post. That would have been really
in fact, I just did that.
Tell you what, I'm gonna straight just download his thing really quick. But yeah, go ahead with your shout out.
Shout out Cavalry Esports. We love Twitter account Cavalry Esports. OWCE Esports.
Yeah, no, absolutely phenomenal. Helped a lot with helping people realize, like, oh, there's actual games happening today.
Mm-hmm.
Was a bit of a thing, but that's a whole conversation not getting into. But I just about have the thing up so we can actually take a good look as to everything that happened yesterday, because let me tell you, lots of things ended up happening yesterday as a result. I'm trying to put it up so that we can actually talk about it while everyone can look at it, because thankfully the Wikipedia is updated, so that's a good thing. That's a step in the right direction.
While we're talking about it, while you're pulling it up, I can also talk a little bit about Asia that happened last night.
Yeah, please do.
Big news coming out of Asia. Currently sitting in first place is the first time roster of Pakistan, who have never fielded an Overwatch World Cup roster before. But Pakistan is known for their Tekken scene, which sounds a little bit random, but they were isolated from basically the entire world in terms of fighting games for a very long time, until a guy called Arslan Ash, you might have heard of him if you know anything about Tekken. He came out of nowhere and just kind of won Evo Japan one year. And now a few years later, Pakistan is one of the strongest regions in Tekken. And thus far they're looking pretty good at Overwatch too. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we have another superpower on our hands.
It is a very real reality we get to that point. I'm going to be excited to hear more about it into the late hours tonight. But they have some very good games going on tonight as well. They only have the 2 days of action as well, so everything concludes with them here in the early hours coming up. But in terms of everything, I do have the thing, and again, shout out Overwatch Calvary, who makes it so easy to keep up with everything esports related, everything Overwatch related for that point, and made this very lovely graphic so y'all can kind of see the way the results have gone. And for me, you said Chile, that big surprise. That big surprise for me is Guatemala, a team that was the last team to get through and approved here going into this Conference Cup. A team that people didn't have a ton of expectations for, but then they go ahead and get to really big wins to get things started for them here and give them a sense of momentum. And the reason why I like talking about this team right now, Getster, is because this is our first match of the day. Guatemala is taking on Honduras, who in their own right got a nice upset win to end the day yesterday against Panama. So this is a big game for both teams going in, because Guatemala is only one of 2 undefeated teams remaining.
Yeah, the aforementioned Chile is also undefeated, but they aren't facing off against each other immediately, so
yeah. Yeah, when are that's one thing I meant to check is when.
That's a good question.
It's day 3.
I can look at the schedule right now.
So one thing we did yesterday, which we'll talk a little bit about some of the matches down the line. I talked about that Panama team. There's another match happening at the same time, because if you guys were here yesterday, or if you were just at any stream, yesterday, you probably found out that there was 2 different streams that are going on. We have a A feed and a B feed, and
Indeed.
yeah, we're following all the games on B today, but we will be peeking on the A games occasionally when we have the time to do so. And the one that's starting over there is Ecuador versus Panama, which, given the standings the way they are, that is essentially a do-or-die battle right there going on. Like,
sorry, I'm making a funny post on Twitter.
well, I'll say why. It's because both are, unfortunately, the distinction of being the only 0-2 teams right now. So, if you want any chance, you got to win that, get some momentum on their side. And Ecuador, especially so, since they have to go back-to-back to start the day. After this game, they have to go up against Argentina, who didn't have their best appearance yesterday as they lost out on the game against Puerto Rico. But Argentina have a chance to do it today because Argentina, guess what? They play a grand total of 4 games today.
Oh my goodness, that is that's a lot to have to work with for one team. But I mean, these are the kinds of days where you figure out how prepared you are, right? How durable you are, and durability is definitely going to be one of those things that's extremely important here. Because even aside from the fact that the matches, I should say, are shorter, best of 3s instead of best of 5s, you have to play so many of them over the course of 3 days, and just making sure you're at the top of your game the whole time is very difficult.
It is a very difficult thing ultimately, but these teams have to be able to try to pull it out. Again, that top 3 is going to move on and move forward. And for those of you that weren't around for day 1, or perhaps are just getting caught up with everything that has happened, let's take a moment and kind of explain that the format that we know so far gets through with this. So, obviously, as you saw from the standings, as I'm going to show one more time for the sake of transparency, 9 teams are competing in what is essentially a wild card to get into the main conference that is America. So these 9 teams are going to play a full round robin. Everybody will face everybody. And at the end of the day, the top 3 teams, when all is said and done, are going to move on to the American Conference. And when that happens, they're going to join the likes of USA, Canada, Mexico, Colombia, and Brazil, where they will then have their own, I believe, group stages that will define who's going to move on from there. But obviously, we're focused on this, on that top 3 of who's going to move forward. It's going to be a very lively day because unlike yesterday where it's a lot of opening games, seeing everybody's at, today's the day where we're really going to find out if a team could be undefeated and pretty locked in, or honestly, quite a couple of teams that are already going to be mathematically eliminated here during the course of the day.
Yeah, this is do or die for a lot of the teams near the bottom of the table. I mean, we mentioned Ecuador, who, I mean, I really hope to see do maybe a little bit better. I think Ecuador has a lot of potential to do really well here. Panama also not looking amazing right now. Argentina going 0-2 in their 1 match yesterday, so they're in a bit of a rough spot. But none of these teams are completely out of the running quite yet, I believe. It is going to be very difficult for like our current like bottom 2 teams because they've already lost 2 matches, but everybody else has only lost 1 if they've lost it all. So this is still anybody's group to take. Top 3 is achievable for any of these teams.
No, it still is very much so, but you got to start making it happen now if you're some of those teams that are a little further down. Argentina can make a really good bounce back. They have a couple games going on, but that first game is against Ecuador, so you know, Argentina does have a chance to bounce back, but they still have other really tough games today. They have, what is it? They have Costa Rica later on, who, while losing out on that game against Chile, which is an unfortunate sequence right there, they managed to bounce back later. But hey, guess what? We're getting started here pretty quickly, so we're gonna quickly sync up really quick to make sure. I need to move forward like a second. And then I'll be good. So, Gester, why don't you tell me where you're at right now in terms of timing?
20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14.
Okay. Here's 13, what I need you to do. All
12,
I need you to do is...
11.
Yep, you're good. All I need you to do is, don't do it yet, but you're going to pause for just 1 second. And then we'll be lined up. Just do the 1 second, and then we will be perfect. And we're good. We're solid. We're ready to go, and we're ready to go with day 2 of the action, Getster. I am more than excited. Let's do this thing right here, and Richie, instead immediately. Oh no! No.
Lunar is kind of nice at this game. Oh my god. Honduras going up against, I believe this is Guatemala, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is. So, right off the bat, player advantage for Honduras, thanks to Lunar Sky on this Pirika. Out of the equation just means that so much damage is completely gone. You can't, like, engage nearly as effectively. But, I mean, they still find a way into this fight here, does Guatemala. With Cell going down, I mean, this just gets rougher and rougher for the side of Honduras until eventually they've lost out on basically everybody else, and Lunar likely unable to escape.
Yeah, unfortunate, but again, this is the ground and pound style that we saw from Guatemala all day yesterday and what they were able to do. They like taking a large sense of aggression. They like being the team to take fights immediately. I like that the adjustment from Honduras is to send Ragozo over on to the Mauga and really try to just burn down Glacier every chance they get. But guess that's still going to be a difficult thing to do given the situation, especially as Lunar Sky can't even really get into the fight, is now just getting some care, and Glacier already has the Terra Surge active and ready for this engagement.
I'm really glad you pointed that out because I had completely missed it. What a nice little push there onto Ragazzo, and that's just the fight completely wrapped up in the blink of an eye. I mean, you lose out on the Mauga that early, it's just over.
Yeah, that is absolutely rough, but now you get into this next one again. You still have a Terra Surge ready to go. The Pulse Bomb on the way as well is going to make things interesting. You can definitely pair those two together and make sure you get somebody in that exchange right here, as we did see Self over on that venture as well, as there's a good transition making their way over towards the point. Glacier is going to take some aggressive angles here, though, is more than happy to just run down Ragozo.
I mean, if it works, it works. You just lock down the Mauga and suddenly can't do anything about it. That's going to be an excellent Terra Surge, connecting onto two more. Glacier's out here for blood right now. The battle cattle is in effect.
That is insane. Fun little fact, by the way, we posted about this. Every single tank got play in the American Conference yesterday.
Yeah,
like actual play. That is insanity. And now we're seeing more of that. Ragozo has to make the swap over to the Junker Queen now instead. And you're still going to have 3 ultimates on the line right here. And there's nothing ready for Honduras.
Oh, yeah, they just aren't aware of Vito's position here. Guatemala in such a phenomenal spot right now, having taken Benja Persona out of the equation. There will not be a sound barrier for this final fight, and there will not be a Sojourn, a Fury, a Venture, or a Queen. This one's over 100-0. Guatemala looking dominant.
100%. And we talked about this team yesterday. Both the games they had did go to map 3. But there were maps like this, rounds like this, where they came out swinging very dominantly. And they're doing so right out of the gate here against Honduras. To be fair, are not running a bad comp or a bad strategy by any means. But you see right there how things are going. Glacier with 13-0. Never died.
Oh my goodness. That's insane. Both, I mean, in terms of his own cooldown rotation and the support line, just managing to keep him standing throughout that entire onslaught. But, I mean, I say onslaught. It barely felt like that. Daniel only doing 1,200 damage there on the Sojourn is a very, unfortunately, low number. And, I mean, I hate to call out individual players, but I really want to see more out of this Sojourn because I know Daniel can do better. I've seen Daniel do better.
Yeah, no, we definitely have before. Like, when we watch those Honduras crowds, did absolutely phenomenal in that. We know they can do amazing things. But you got to get these openings right now. And Glacier being burnt down could be a really good situation as Glacier is literally just running for their life.
Yeah, and left on 150 health, there's not a whole lot of damage elsewhere. No, Ragazzo is eventually able to find the pick. A lot of point pressure comes out for Guatemala, though. Only a couple players alive, but surely they go down. Eventually, this should be a first point capture for Honduras here. Finally getting a little bit of percentage on the board.
Yeah, very scrappy engagement, by the way. You saw Vincent almost, like, come back in that instance right there. Almost ended up getting rid of 2. Just unfortunately had to get out of there. But now you go into this next fight. As scrappy as it was, no one built up super high in charge right now. A lot of people are generally pretty even in terms of their ultimates. I imagine you're going to take a really aggressive display again if you're Guatemala, as Lunar Sky has been taking really aggressive angles on the day already. And this is something we're going to see all day as Self is down early.
Yeah, you really hate to lose out on the Venture this early in a fight because, I mean, That's a whole lot of your damage. Daniel also getting taken down here. The pressure is just a little bit too much for that Sojourn. And I mean, this fight's over. It's just a matter of can Guatemala get any more staggers? And they do onto Benja Persona. Cell as well going down. They might even be able to get the tank here. That is a brutal stagger onto Ragazzo's queen. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, but luckily Lunar Sky does get out, so that kind of gives you a little bit more of a, more time to, I should say, less time to have to recover. You know, Hunter's good using the good old dictionary here today. But oh, continue right. Oh, they're just going full aggro again.
They're just going in off of this one, but I mean, sound barriers exchanged on both sides. Shield goes down just to try and cut off a whole lot of sight lines for the side of Honduras, and it seems to be working as Richie puts out so much damage right now. 3 final blows in this fight alone. Nearly makes it 4 with those shots on the Lunar Sky, but Glacier steals away the final blow. But I mean, the team kill comes through regardless. It's good damage, it's good percentage, and it's a great ult economy. Or I would argue both of these teams.
Yeah, but that feels like way too much for one fight. Because again, you're going to have a continual rush in your face where you don't have a genuine answer to it. Richie's gonna have to find somebody early on, and almost does so.
Not quite. You were right. So close to getting it, but not quite there. That is very unfortunate for Richie and the entirety of Guatemala, but I mean, surely they're able to hold on to this point for at least a little bit longer, at least until 80% at one fight territory.
It's not even over.
That's kind of been the thing. The fight, you're right, it isn't over. Marlea finding Benja Persona means that this is maybe still a fight, but no, eventually the point does get flipped. Honduras is firmly in control, and Guatemala, they just have to reset. Stay back a bit.
Yeah, absolutely have to right now. But now, Vito, full spawn back online. You would love to catch on to someone like Daniel or Benja, if possible, right here. Anyone else feels like they have no right to die to it. But obviously, we'll see in this engagement, as right now, Ragozo does have things ready to go here with that Rampage is thrown out, and Pulse Bomb doesn't stick, but they're still finding the kills.
I mean, a lot of this comes down to Cell on that Tectonic Shock, but it's just not enough damage here. This is a fight win, a clean fight win for Guatemala, and now Honduras needs to get back and find a touch here. I'm not sure Cell has the touch, but Ragazzo's not swapping over to... Benja dies on the approach. Cell dies after the touch. We get an overtime, but it won't be refreshed. 2-0 in favor of Guatemala here on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and they're picking up right where they left off of yesterday right there. Honduras, though, honestly, good fight back over on that second point. I think found a much better style that worked for them right here and taking a little bit more aggressive fights and angles. Unfortunately, it only worked out for so long right here. They take advantage of the fact that the ult economy kind of goes haywire for Guatemala, and I think they end up using their ults very carefully and very precisely. Unfortunately, it's just not enough to make the whole thing happen. But everything considered, that is a back and forth second map, and the fact that Guatemala has already had to play 2 that went all 3, we're in a territory where we're perhaps looking at the same thing happening if Honduras can figure out where they want to take us, and of course, what they want to ban. And to be fair, you could ban the Orisa, but if you watched any Guatemala yesterday, Getster, you know Glacier has that Rhine in him. You know this.
Oh yeah, for sure. As a reminder, everybody watching at home, there is a second stream. There are more matches happening. I don't know who is co-streaming the A side. I believe Bullskunk might be, but
might be Grupo Senju might be as well. Let me check in on them really quick.
Let me look at.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Big shout.
Okay, so Bullskunk is also looking at the same game as us, but Grupo Senju, shout out to them. Go check them out. Their game currently is Ecuador versus Panama. So a lower end of the leaderboard, literally our bottom 2 teams, but that's a big momentum setter for the remainder of the day, because I was saying that, you know, it's still possible for one of those 2 teams to maybe make top 3. This is the win they really have to take in order to do that, because if they don't, I think they might be buried a little bit too deep.
Yeah, it's that's the scenario that we're in right now, and obviously for no team, we're not at the point where we're calling anybody's ability to stay in this impossible. Everyone can do so, but this is really big for Guatemala because if they do manage to take this one away from Honduras and stay as an undefeated team, the thing to keep in mind is they do still have to face all of the quote unquote uh, juggernauts people have kind of listed as. You're thinking of like
Mm-hmm.
your Costa Ricas, your Chiles, your Perus. They still have to go
Mm-hmm.
against them. But a point that Dex and I made a lot yesterday, especially toward the tail end, is how important momentum can be in Overwatch. If you go into this next game against a really tough opponent, which their next opponent on the board is going to be, where are you? Where are you? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm so dumb. Hunter has no brain cells. We don't see them for. When do we see them? We don't see them until way later against Peru on the A stream, like way later on.
A while. It'll be a little bit for sure.
But those are
But
good test. But those are good test matches, though. Peru and
mhm.
Argentina, those are really good test matches. And if they win them both, all they have to do is get like an upset win on day 3, and they should move on. And that's a crazy
Yep.
thought, but it's becoming feasible if they win this one. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm. It is more than possible for sure. So I am extremely curious to see how this one, how this day continues to pan out here, because we've already seen a very exciting, I would argue, first map here between Honduras and Guatemala. Map one also just wrapped between Panama and Ecuador. I believe it was an Ecuador win, but I
Yes.
missed it. I
Yeah.
missed the exact moment.
Yeah, so it was an Ecuador win, so they take the
It
first map
was.
against Panama. So Ecuador, by the way, a team that, despite all that has happened, I know they're like near the bottom of the standings. Let me tell you, they put up a fight against the two teams they went against. Let's keep it a
Mm-hmm.
buck. They had the unfortunate distinction of having to face Peru off the back of getting taken down by Chile in a map 3 situation. And Peru was
Mm-hmm.
playing very angry in that engagement, in that entire
Oh
series.
yeah.
But Ecuador, in their own right, they had that second game against Guatemala, the team we're watching now, that just kind of, for the most part, kind of ran down Honduras. Ecuador took them to 3 maps, made a
Mm-hmm.
majority of them competitive. Let's be real. So obviously, we'll be excited to kind of keep peeking back at that A stream and see what happens, how things go from there. Because I think you share in the sentiment, Getster, and Nex and I like talking about this a lot. We're not
Mm-hmm.
going to this presenting any favorites. We're not sitting here having our own quote unquote power rankings. We're just happy that there are 9 countries that are being represented here. They're having a good
Mm-hmm.
time, and all we want is whoever ends up being the 3 strongest to move on and represent themselves well going over to the American Conference in a couple of months here to face against the big juggernauts that are basically sitting by and waiting for these last 3 teams to get through.
Yeah, yeah, entirely fair. It is. I mean, it's kind of difficult to have an idea of like who my personal favorite might be. So it's very difficult for me to be biased because, admittedly, I am not nearly as familiar with most of these players as you and Dexatron happen to be. Uh, but I mean, it is just I am. Words are very difficult in the morning for me. It is still the morning here on the West Coast, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is it's one of those situations where I'm learning alongside a lot of the people who are also not super familiar with the region, and that's something I love about the World Cup. I talked about this on my own stream yesterday, but these like upcoming players from a region that's been underrepresented and hasn't had the same level of competitive support from Blizzard for a very long time is so cool to see, and I'm very excited to like continue to watch this region evolve and hopefully develop further in Overwatch esports.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what we want ultimately in this situation, is for just them to have more exposure. And the fact that there are so many different people that are covering things this weekend, that's a good thing. The fact that like every team has their own coverage as well going on with their own Twitches,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing too. I check in on some of these have like these big numbers, and it's like, oh my god, people are like tuning in for this. And keep in mind again, because funny old Blizzard, the
Mm-hmm.
collegiate stuff's happening this weekend as well. Obviously, there's something going
Yes.
on over there, but you still have people that are tuning into this as well. That are coming to
Mm-hmm.
watch this, and that makes me really excited to see that people are here for that and watching things here. So I'm really excited for that. I do want to take an opportunity while we're still waiting for the second map to shout out a couple more people that are streaming today. Some of our friends over at CGL,
True.
Joker, who was doing the games yesterday, actually did some of Asia over the night as well.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah. He's been putting in absolute work for this region these last few months. So big shout out. And another person, Monteneva, who happy birthday yesterday. Congratulations, big birthday. And now Moneva joining here on this day to stream through the Americas. So big shout out to both of them. Obviously, it's gonna be a massive day, really exciting day, and I'm excited that they can be a part of it.
Fun fact, Mott's birthday is actually Monday. He was just celebrating it yesterday.
Wow.
He told me that in DMs yesterday after I wished him a happy birthday. And I was like, what? Hunter lied to me. He lied.
I was told, like, hey, I'm going to celebrate my birthday. It's like, oh my God, happy birthday.
Oh
like,
yeah,
no other context. Yeah. Happy birthday.
No, that was very funny. But yeah, we love Mott around here. I'm a big fan of that guy. And I tried to get him on my stream yesterday, but I didn't want to drag him away from birthday celebrations. I would love to continue to, like, just whenever someone's not doing a proper cast like this, just drag someone over into my realm where we just like chat and like talk about random garbage all day. It's like my favorite thing to do in a watch party. So I would love to do that. If you're at all interested in something like that, like in a Vast style co-stream, I'm gonna do a little bit of a self-plug here. Twitch.tv/Gedster49. It's fun. I'm obviously not doing it today, but it's a fun time. Tune in tomorrow.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's going to be really exciting moving forward, and there's a lot to be excited about. Obviously, I went on a whole like tirade before the stream ended last night about how much there is coming up. I don't know if you saw the announcement, Getster, but Grupo Senju has the circuit going on.
I did not.
Yeah, I will share that post with you actually, because it is worth bringing up. I have to dig for it though, because it was like a few days ago, and turns out Grupo Senju has been very busy, which is not shocking. They have been doing like more covers than anybody else for this entire.
That's pretty sick.
Like super sick. Actually, I need to get you this video because they've quote retweeted so much stuff the last 24 hours. I'm just trying to find the post now.
That's awesome.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. But I have to actually scroll for like a few minutes. That's crazy.
Side note, map 2 between Ecuador and I've already forgotten the team.
You're talking about Panama.
Wow. Panama, yeah.
Oh, speaking of,
they are going to be on. They are playing on the Esperanto.
So this is us. So both of them are going right now. We're going over to Rialto for the second one.
We are going to Rialto. This is the important one.
Yeah, well, this is the important one. They're both pretty important, especially for like the future. A lot of these teams right here, but it'll be exciting to see what happens. And Gedster, we're talking about the fact that Glacier's got that Ryan in him. Well, that Ryan is still very much on the scene. Something that I've noticed a lot, and a lot of people have noticed as well, is how much Enray has kind of gone up the power rankings in a lot of ways, has become played a lot more often, to the point where they're like a good substitute for the Sojourn, maybe to play as an alternative, or typically if the Sojourns get banned, both of the flex DPS just go over to the Emray, or I should say hit scan in this case.
Yeah, it is one of those heroes that benefited greatly from the immediate aftermath of the patch, where he just got a pretty significant buff to his damage, and now suddenly he is outputting absurd numbers, which, I mean, yeah, good for Emery. We love to see a new hit scan in the game, even if it is a burst rifle. Boo. Boo. I can't use them, bro. I hate burst weapons. It is tragic.
Yeah, it's fair enough. But right now, it's not working out too great, as Glacier just pins in for a moment. He's going to lose the shield, but it's more than worth it here, isn't it?
I mean, you've just won the fight off of that. We'll take that every day of the week. Zikarma and Daniel Mix are able to find picks like on the exit here, but I mean, is that worth it, really? I mean, Z
Kinda.
Karma is able to escape, but Daniel is not, so this card's going to get a lot of progress at the moment.
Yeah, which is fine, to be fair. Benja makes the swap over to the Brig instead. You're going to get a reasonable retouch here. It's not going to be that easy, though, as, by the way, Richie is already, like, around the corner from having this online, this override protocol. So we'll see how long the fight ends up going on. Is if that comes online and Glacier can live, it would be massive, but, Glacier
does not live, tragically. Daniel Mix also able to get a pick onto Richie's Emery here, and I think this is one of those things where I'm a little interested that we're on the Emery here, because I think Emery is a good character. Don't get me wrong. I just think Sojourn's a little more consistent, man. I like this pick from Daniel slightly more.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Override Protocol is a pesky thing to deal with, especially where you don't have a shield to deal with. You don't even have a cleanse. The only shield you have is from the Brig, and that's not going to be enough. So Richie's probably going to try to go aggro here in a minute right now. You can see they're just trying to pin in Ragozo and just burn all those resources away.
Pulse Bomb stuck to Glacier's Reinhardt, but it's not going to be enough to take him out. He'll simply hold shield and wait for the Nano boost to connect. There's a Nano on the Reinhardt and a Protocol in the sky. A lot of damage being dealt to the side of Team Honduras, and that is, that's you done. That's the first point.
You did it, and I don't care. In that situation, I don't care that you had to use 3 to get through there. It's worth it. You just clean house and get through. You still have a Shatter with nothing to really stop it, unless you sign something really well if you're Benja or Lunar Sky. So now in this situation, you're going to see a little more aggression still be on the line right here. Glacier's probably just going to find like a person or two to shatter and just do so. Why? Because he can. It's honestly that simple.
Nothing to block it, so may as well.
Goodbye.
We're just going to charge the Nano Jumper Queen off the map. Yep. All right. Well, that's one way to take care of the Nano boost, but unfortunately, you do have to give up your own life for it. And that is just going to be the fight. I mean, getting rid of the Queen is great and all, but when you're not there to help the rest of your team, 3 of them fall down, and you lose the fight anyway.
Yeah, I guess the one alternative is that Ragozo, with that fight with the Nano, probably could have built up to having that Rampage ready to go, and now it's not ready. Which is pretty integral considering where we're at right now in the fight, where you're about to have the Sound Barrier ready to go, and now you have the response imminent as they're going to go super aggro, and Vincent is dead immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, that's an interesting decision to Rampage there. I think a couple members of the team were already dead. I don't think you needed that one if you were Ragazzo, but I mean, it helped seal up the fight. You do still have your DPS ultimates to work with here. One of them could potentially force out a beat. So I don't hate the position that Honduras is in right now, but the beat goes out here. This is exactly what I was talking about. As an engagement tool, it's great, but now Daniel has the overclock and there's nothing to react to it. Pulse Bomb goes out and connects onto Richie. Beautiful stick coming out from Z Karma. Another Pulse Bomb goes out, but does go ever so slightly wide. Glacier with a shatter late in the fight.
Big slam.
But I mean, the Nano is so huge. The slam and the Nano both combining, and it is plenty for Glacier to work with.
Yeah, now you can get a little bit of no way. I'm about to say no way bro gets the pin. Oh my god, predicts it! And Karma goes down as a result! Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's insanity. And now, you're gonna have a retouch here. You're just gonna throw Nano onto Ragozo. Richie, though, is probably got to hang back and just try to build up to the Override Protocol. As they go for the pin again, it does not work out, though.
I like the play there. If that works, then the Queen doesn't get the contest. They maybe get the point off of that. But, yeah, just ever so slightly missing that charge. And
Lunar?
It will end up being a problem for them, at least in the moment. Because Glacier just turns around, repositions himself, and wins the fight in the next engagement anyway. A clean 5-0 fight in terms of the picks. And Honduras, they just can't get anything going here.
No, they can't. They have found glimpses of success. They 100% have. But now you're going to fight where you're going to hope you get a Pulse Bomb online. You're going to hope maybe a rally. But, I mean, you have another Shadow that's ready to go here. The Override Protocol that has found a lot of success so far for Richie. When you hit this final quarter right here, you're probably going to see a really aggressive stance right here to go in with it and just try to take some really aggressive angles and damage. And to be fair, Honduras is kind of letting them set up for it by sitting so far back.
Yeah, they're very, very far away here, and I don't think it helps that they're playing this Junker Queen, who, I mean, not the best at holding space far forward. Karma, bro. That's exactly what your team needed. The hero moment for the Tracer player, getting 2 kills off of 1 pulse bomb. Beautiful stuff coming out from Z Karma there.
Yeah, phenomenal. I have seen them play quite a few number of times going into this weekend right here, and that Tracer play is hard to match. But Shatter comes through. It gets a whopping 0, though. And they're still in bed. Oh, my sweet.
Okay. That works. All right, so, this Emery hero, huh?
And now you're hanging in the back, and someone's got to retouch. It's just Z Karma. Everyone's bum rushing to get to the point in time, but I don't think anybody's getting there.
There's no touch. There's no touch at all. What a phenomenal override protocol from Richie to close out that attack with a little over a minute in the bank, 122 to be specific. That is ridiculous. Like, I thought we were gonna see, like, I thought we were maybe gonna get like a YouTube short out of that one, just a little bit of a laugh about a 0-man Shatter. But you know what? It's a zoning ultimate. Who cares? Just throw in the override protocol, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, 100%. Seeing the stats right here, nothing stands out too horribly. Obviously, Richie has over 7,000 damage, but Glacier's close to 9,000, by the way, which is insanity. I know it's like a Reinhardt, but still, it's not easy at the end of the day to go in and do all of that. But we'll see what changes up right here. We do see Vincent is going to stay over on the Ana for the Nano, which honestly, I think was working out very well for them. You either can give it to Glacier and let them go aggressive like back on the first point, or you just throw it on Richie with the override protocol and you just burn people down with it. I like both alternatives right here. Is Ragozo opting for the Ramatra. In my head, I think it makes a lot of sense.
I like Ramatra here a lot more than I like Queen. Like, don't get me wrong, the Queen is good from Ragazzo, but I think that overall Ramatra is just a more consistent character. I think Ramatra does a lot better into Reinhardt specifically, which is a really big deal here. And I think that, I mean, just very generally speaking, I mean, this character has been good since his introduction in early Overwatch 2, and still is good as it turns out. So teams need to, I think they need to keep their eyes open for this hero for a little bit longer. Z Karma opening the engagement here with a pick onto Vito. Glacier again with a suicide pin onto Ragazzo. You know you can press shift again so you don't fall off the map, right?
Yeah, true. But to be fair, it's another situation where the DPS are going to clean up. You never really play for that initial corner over there much anyway. And Glacier gets a lot more charge, and Ragozo gets none for their ultimate. So it is kind of a give and a take there. But I think the fact that you're back and you're already playing for this corner means that it's a net positive in that Ragozo is going to have to keep fighting tooth and nail just to kind of...
No.
Oh my god. Oh.
He did it! He did it! He pressed shift a second time! And now
That's
Glacier,
insane, dude. What?
He stays on the map. Oh, that's so tragic. And I mean, look, it's what you were pointing out earlier. Look at the ult charge difference between Glacier and Ragazzo. 68 to 23. It's bad out here for Honduras right now.
Oh,
they need something quick.
I love this. Mizuki. So now the pin's not going to work anymore. So they're going to go for the pin, and Luna's guy's literally just going to pin it down, and Glacier is just not going to be able to try it again. Which, to be fair, this is a really smart strategy, but you lose out on a level of utility as well, running the Mizuki instead. So we'll see if it works, as the Nano is going in.
You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need to be able to charge you off the map to do your entire health bar worth of damage. He just needs a Nano boost, and, I mean, Vincent has charged that in spades. So well played thus far on Guatemala's defense. They just feel like they can't be stopped at the moment.
Oh my god. This is really insane so far, the way this is working out for them. And now it tries it again. Honestly, can't blame you, especially now you have a Shatter ready to go, and you should be able to at least nail Ragozo with this shortly.
I mean, surely, right? Like, that shield isn't up, and Ragazzo just dies to spam damage here. I really thought that was going off the map for a moment, but Glacier does finally get punished for their hubris. this Reinhardt no longer going to be on
Ooh.
board, but yeah. Okay, a pulse bomb whiffs there, but that's perfectly fine for the side of Guatemala. They are spoiled for ultimates right now.
Oh, they are, and now they have a Shatter coming up. Vito does go down, but you're still moving in if you're Glacier because you're not scared. You have a Shatter ready to go. You have the Sound Barrier now, and now they're going to clean things out with Override.
Yeah, I mean, this ultimate's so ridiculous, man. Maybe if you don't lose Benja Persona early in that fight, you can use Lunar Sky's ultimate in order to mitigate the Override's effectiveness, but just a little bit too late in that particular fight here. But I am kind of wondering what they're waiting for with this VZG ult.
You just have to go in and kind of go for it, because I think you can block out the Shatter, if I'm not mistaken, but my god. Vito's an assassin. It's insanity. And now everyone's going to be cleaned up late here.
Yeah, this is brutal. Lunar Sky gets staggered super heavily. Benja Persona is staggered. Daniel gets slept right outside of his spawn door. And Glacier is on a cheeky angle. Glacier is on a cheeky angle with the Shatter ready to go.
Oh, they don't know yet.
They have no idea where he is. Now they do. So they've spotted him out. But there's still a Shatter on board. Nice charge.
They're just going to turn and slam here in a second.
Wait a minute.
Big slam. Oh my god, he's going to try to pin him.
2 players, but Z-Karma will be the first to go down in the fight. Nano goes out onto Glacier, and that should just seal the deal. Despite the ultimate from Lunar Sky, despite the ultimate from Ragazzo, nothing will be enough to stop this Guatemalan squad, and they will take this one 2-0.
That's insanity. How well that works out there for Guatemala. And now, as things stand, the only team that is 3-0 for the weekend right now. That is utter insanity. I'm literally lacking words to throw in here right now, because it's simple play what's going on here for Guatemala. But you don't need something that's super complicated, sophisticated. This is very to the point. It's like, hey, we're throwing everything, all of our resources into our tank to give us as much space and make as much room as possible. And it's working out beautifully. Because even if it doesn't work out for Glacier, Richie is there to follow up almost immediately and clean up these fights. It's a really impressive job seeing what they're doing and how they're going about it. And and now I'm excited for later today to see Guatemala more against, again, some of their bigger tests down the line that now I'm really pumped to see. That is insane.